this is Markus Wilmsmann from German Mothergrid magazine, and today I have the opportunity to take you on a walk around the really very exciting production of the current Radiohead tour. It's the last of 4 shows in Berlin at the Uber Arena. Let's see what the guys have to tell us about the sound, the lighting, and of course the kinetics that make large parts of the rigging in the roof move. Okay, now I'm sitting here with Giacomo Gasparini. Giacomo, what is your job here at the Radiohead tour?
I am the system engineer and audio crew chief for the 2025 Radiohead tour. Bit of a challenge from an audio standpoint. You can probably already tell is that it's a round show, but thanks to the new L2 system and to a very collaborative and early production briefing and design briefing between Josh Lloyd from Britannia Row, who is the system designer for this rig, and the Radiohead production, we were able to actually, I'd say, nail it at the first shot.
And you're using the new L2 system from L-Acoustics. What are your experience with this?
We actually took it out for a few shows on the Smile Tour in 2023, I want to say, might have been 2024, and we absolutely loved it. It's a very good step in the right direction, especially for this show in the round. It actually gives us the capability to only have 8 hangs, and the wide coverage, especially at the bottom, really helps with covering every member of the audience and giving them the best result we could possibly hope for. Subwoofers are hidden in plain sight, just behind the moving screens. It's called a TM array from Thomas Mundorf, who actually deployed it the first time with Metallica. I think it was a Mayer sound system. And what it gives us is omnidirectionality on the horizontal plane and a very good cancellation on the vertical one. So you end up with a null on the stage, which we were a bit worried about spill on stage, obviously, because it's 8, 16 to 40 subs just above the stage. And turned out to be really, really effective. Both our measurements and the band feedback confirm that it's actually performing in a really outstanding manner, I'd say.
And if I do see that right, you did not only fly 40 subs over the stage, but also the amp racks are flown.
As you can probably see from our cable bridges, having speaker cable going on top of all the rest of the cable wasn't really a viable solution. Also, the length was exceeding what L-Acoustics recommends for the L2 system. The amp racks are custom designed from the same designers that designed the show, so the technical designers, which is Wonderworks. And we have 8, 9 amps, so 8 active LA716s, plus a spare in each one, and a Prodigy MC in each amp rack that gives us redundancy in case of a failure of the AV network. So we're running optical MADI from the wing racks all the way to the amps, and that then gets converted into the analog backup for the PA. We've been really impressed with how the L2 system has been performing. Even like the higher up, the cheap seats, as somebody would call them, they're getting a really, really good experience.
Now I arrived at the lighting front of house, and next to me is Pryderi Baskerville, who is the lighting director for this production. Pryderi, what was the special challenge for you personally at this tour?
Particular challenges on this show is obviously we're using Kinetic winches, so we're dealing with obviously moving lights. We've been dealing with moving lights for years, but now we actually have another axis of movement in the Z-axis. So that's an interesting way of working and a different way of thinking, because not only are the lights moving, they're physically moving. So that's one of the challenges of this particular production.
Mm. But you're controlling it live?
Yes.
During the show. There's no time code or something else?
No time code at all. It's all driven from the console, and I'm driving it. Obviously, the Kinetic Lights station, they have the ultimate control for safety and awareness of the system. But the cues, when we go into a song, the winch changes, I'm triggering those cues, and they're programmed just like a fixture. You have speed and you have position height. Then you store that as a cue. The lighting cues trigger certain moves within the song depending on which song we're in.
And talking about the lighting rig, which fixtures are you relying on?
We have 96 Robe SVB1s. Those are on the winches. So on a winch, it's either a pod of 4 Robe SVB1s. They're being used as individual fixtures, but also as each pod is being used as one fixture. Then the Rivales, we have 36 Rivales on the pods. There's 12, and then there's 4 front of house trusses, so the lights are on winches, so they come in. We have 44 Acme Pixel Line IPs. There's 12 screens. On the back of every screen is 24 row strip, and in the floor there's 36 row strip, which is like a key light kick for the band. And then we have 20 Mac Aura PXLs and 24 Mac Aura XBs, which are around the stage. And then we also have 63 Solaris Flare Q Pluses. And also there's 24 cameras. So we run content from Disguise. The content is being generated live, notches running, so there's real-time effects, and it's all being driven live as well. The whole thing has to be like a homogeneous show. It all has to work together, so not like, oh, hey, I'm doing the video, and oh, I'm doing the lighting, and it's none of that. So we're working together so that you get a cohesive storyline visually, and you get the correct levels for cameras and for notch triggering. Yeah, it's quite intricate. There's quite a lot going on.
And as you're sitting there, of course, we have to talk about the Grandma 3. Are you running it in the 3 mode?
Yes. Yeah, I'm running it in 3. This is my second show on MA3, but the first show, I took over a show earlier this year, which was on an MA3. This is the first time I've programmed it from the ground up, so just starting with a clean console, and it's just it's an evolution of the. I was a long-term MA2 user, MA1 before that, and also Hog and Artisan and Virtuoso and V676. So I've used a lot of consoles in my time because I'm quite old now. But the MA3 is what we're using at the moment. The console's fairly straightforward. It's the same way that I work on that I was working on the MA2. So I have over here. Here I have all my groups, and the groups of lights and the layouts for selection of lights of flares and cells and haze machines. Over here is the palettes, and it's a dynamic palette. So if I select the, let's say, Robe SVB1s, so position, color, focus, that's all over there. That's all the cue list here. And then here we have all the macros for the songs, and here we have the macros for the winches. So here I have the main cue list for each song, and then over here is the cue list to enable the winches and different positions for the winches. So that's the main cue list. So intro, verse, chorus, and then here all the effects that I'm playing live and strobing, and that's what I'm doing during the song in certain bits. And then over here you've just got the faders for the haze. So there's 6 hazers, there's 6 MDG Atmes, the front of house hazers and the stage hazers. Over here there's the follow me enable for each of the performers, and then there's inhibits here. If I'm looking at the multi-view and the lights are a bit too hot, then I can ride it. But there's always one cue list which has verse, chorus, middle 8, and there's always like a button at the a big ending, and then at the end of the song, it goes to like a preset look. So the band have enough light to get ready for the next song, and then all I do is then I go into the next song, and there we go, and there's a mark cue, so the lights pre-position, and then we're into the next song.
As you can see, the UBA Arena in Berlin completely filled with the light of the Radiohead production. Even the LED rim was integrated in the touring system. And the plan is to repeat this one in Copenhagen too. And I think this is a very nice idea to get the whole production design implemented in a very smooth way into the venue. And now I have the rare occasion to touch the equipment myself, as the follow spot operators do not want to appear on video, but I was allowed to show you the follow spot system. And as you can see, this knob here moves the crosshair, in this case adds. And if there was a musician on stage, I would just follow him with the crosshair, and then one of the spots would automatically follow that person there. I will not dare to touch those faders, but as we heard, the lighting designer and director is also in charge of the intensity. Yeah, and this is the Follow Me spot system that is used at the Radiohead show. This working place at first glance does not look much different to our usual office desk, but I think we have something special here. Florian, which company sent you here?
Kinetic Lights, White Void, and I'm the technical project manager for this Radiohead tour for Kinetic Lights. So what we have here is our latest product is the Winch XL Double. We have in total 60 winches in the rig, and we're responsible for the movement of these moving lights and also for obviously the safety regarding the movements.
And when I saw the show yesterday, I recognized that the moving lights that are positioned around the LED circle, they didn't shake when they were moving. What is the secret behind this?
Exactly. So the secret is quite simple. It's a gyroscope in it, and we developed our own gyroscope now. It's called Kinetic Lights Gyro 1.0, and basically it's a stabilizer. So it's stabilizing the movement of the moving light with a counterweight in a plate on top. And so all 60 fixtures in this rig are equipped with this gyroscope. Exactly, that's the trick. On this setup now, we decided that Prederi from the lighting desk is controlling the winches directly through our system. So all the safety features are embedded in our system, but the control comes straight from the Grand MA3. So he can move them wherever he wants within some parameters that we can set. Basically disable or enable sections. If there's, for example, other movements on the stage, like the rotation of the screen, then we disable a certain array of winches, so we are not like in any collision hazard or anything. We have different levels of safety, obviously. I mean, the two operators are sitting here next to each other, so there's a verbal confirmation always needed. Then we also have some visual screens that are indicating the position of the other system. And also this is based on PSN, POSI StageNet, so both systems know each other's positions. But in the end, it's really a system that is then on the call of these two operators, so there's a certain protocol in place. There's never 100% safety, but I think we're on 99.9 here. It's very good.
Neben mir steht jetzt Lutz Rennert, Freelancer bei Kinetic Lights, der uns noch ein paar Details verraten wird zu den neuen XL-Winden, an denen hier die eierten Rivalis hängen. Lutz, die neuen XL-Winden sind jetzt am Start. Was ist denn an denen so neu?
Die können mehr tragen, können 60 Kilo ist die Maximallast. Wir sind hier bei 50 Kilo ungefähr. Was noch cool ist bei der Winde, dass der Strom getrennt ist voneinander. Das heißt, wenn ich die Winde ausmache, können die Moving Lights trotzdem noch weiterhin spielen. Das ist auch das, was dann so viel Kabellage ausmacht teilweise. Aber genau, das ist halt die Besonderheit auch von dieser Winde. Das ist bei den anderen Winden bei Kinetic Lights halt nicht so. Wenn die Winde aus ist, geht halt dann auch das Fixture aus damit. Und somit, wenn ich irgendwelche Probleme habe mit der Winde hier und die irgendwie resetten muss, hard resetten muss, dann kann aber Prit mit dem Licht immer noch weiterhin steuern. Und das ist gut, ja.
Wie komplex würdest du die Produktion hier einschätzen? War das eher so ein Taschenspielertrick für euch oder musste da schon noch ein bisschen mehr Hirnschmalz euch rausquetschen?
Es war am Anfang, ich glaube, die größte Hürde war eher so die ganzen verschiedenen Elemente zusammenzubringen mit Video, uns, auch mit der Lichtcrew, dass wir das sozusagen ineinander reinschmilzt, das Ganze, weil es halt eine enge Zusammenarbeit ist mit allem. Halt immer so eine Center Stages sind nicht so einfach. Hier ist auch richtig viel Kabellage am Start. Das ist auch noch so ein bisschen das Problem von der Zeit her, einfach vom Aufbauzeit. Wir fangen sehr früh an, so um 4 Uhr morgens und sind dann so gegen 14, 15 Uhr erst fertig und dann 18 Uhr ist Einlass. Und das war so die größte Hürde, das alles so in der Zeit wirklich zu schaffen.
Wie detailliert wird das denn hier auseinandergerissen? Habt ihr dann auch so Pre-Rig-Trusses, wo das dann einfach reingerollt wird oder wird da noch alles nochmal auseinandergerissen?
Genau, die Winden sind Pre-Rig in der Truss drin und die Moving Lights werden ausgebaut. Die kommen dann in so extra Dollys, die spezial angefertigt worden sind von Light Alternative. Und genau, und dann der Rest, dann werden die Trassen so auseinandergekloppt und dann so in den LKW geschoben. Dann noch gestackt und ja.
Fearfully, I'm looking at the line check now that takes place on stage. You can hear it in the background. But next to me, I have a rare chance to get an interview with a real head rigger. His name is Ruben Pinkney, and he will tell us his secrets about the setup of the stage. As soon as the sound in the background gets a little less loud. So, Ruben, let's have a try. Talking about the current tour, what are the challenges that you're facing when setting up this production?
There are two main challenges. One is the height. Because of the technology, we need a high trim height. We need a hook height on the motors of about 21 meters. But we're also in the round under the scoreboards in sports venues. So we need a mothergrid because conventional rigging with bridles would bring the hooks down too low and we wouldn't get the trim heights we need. So here, for instance, Rigging Depot have put a mothergrid in, a truss grid, so that we can get the hooks under the scoreboard and get the height we need and get everything where we need it. So I prepare drawings and we send them ahead, and the promoter discusses with his local riggers whether we can get all the rigging points where we need them, and his local rigging company, in this case Rigging Depot, install a mothergrid, hopefully before we arrive. But in this case, they built one as we were loading in very quickly, and it was very efficient. And in fact, the mothergrid allows us to rig quicker than we normally would with bridles. It's an efficient system.
So now, and as we were talking, suddenly the house lights went out. And yeah, but I have one last question that I would like to, Ruben. What about the rigging of the new L-Acoustics L2 system? What are your experiences with it?
Well, there are two things that I really like about it. It's light, so we can avoid 2-ton motors. We hang each cluster with 3 1-ton motors, and it's very fast for the sound guys to put together and take apart. So it means we can pace our load in easily. The PA usually comes down. It's one of the first things to come down in the evening when we're very keen to finish, and they can come in a bit later and go up. And they put it up quickly as well. So it's good.
Now my ways through the dark Uber arena led me to Chris Sabajek from We Creations, and he is responsible for the LED screen automation. Chris, nice to have you here. Would you tell me, the job here for you at the Radiohead tour, is this a daily business for you, or was it something special, these LED screens?
It's somehow a daily business. It's not that super complicated, but it's everything is very compact. The whole setup is very dense. So we're having a lot of motion in a square meter, especially with the winches and our stuff. We're going up and down, we're going in a rotational, and we can hit other objects as well. So it's we need to be careful together, and we need to work together as a team. but we find a system and it works really good. We didn't have any crash yet, so we're fine.
That's good to hear. And you're touring for 3 months now, so yeah. Not bad. No. Can we go a bit more into detail how you communicate with Florian and Lutz from Kinetic Lights to avoid such crashes?
We are sitting anyway next to each other, and we have one display. On that one display, we can see if the winches are clear, so if the winches are moving, yes or not, and if I'm clear to move, and also when I move, that the winches are not moving. So on that display, that's our communication between us, and of course through intercom.
And is it the same as with the XL winches from Kinetic Lights, that the movement of the LED screens can also be controlled by the lighting desk?
No, that's impossible. We're not going to do that. It's way too dangerous. We're playing with almost 5.5 tons of weight, and the thing is, we can move the screens all the way down and even lower, so we can make actually crashes. Especially we have our artists also under us, so we're not going to do this. It's too dangerous.
Was there something like a security instruction for the band too?
Yes, as well. But we have also 2 spotters. They're on the floor next to the stage. One on stage left, one on stage right. Each of them, they have a deadman handle in their hand. So when there's something goes wrong, or when they're seeing that they're in a dangerous situation, they can release the deadman handle, and then the screens are stopping.
Now we finally reached the final stage of our little walk across the production of the Radiohead tour here in Berlin in the U-Bahn Arena. And next to me we have John M. Lafferty, who is the production manager of this whole circus. John, how are you after 4 days in Berlin?
Very well. We've had a very good time in Berlin. It's been very nice.
You're touring for 3 months now. Are you happy when it's over now? Because you're feeling a bit exhausted, slowly?
Well, I've been on Robbie Williams prior to this, so I've been going at this since pretty much all year long. And then right from that into this, it's been pretty exhausting, but it's been good. It's a great tour. We started talking about this late last year and early this year of 25, and it started growing more and more from the beginning of the year, February, throughout the winter. And we did a little test setup in the UK to make sure the band was okay with the concept of doing it in the round, because they've never really done it like this. Big things were making sure all their gear fit on the stage and that they still had room to walk around and, interact. So they're just not static in the same place like they used to be on an end stage show. So once we got them to kind of sign off with it, it really took off from there. And then Sean had a lot of great ideas, especially with Sean and Jeremy Lloyd, especially with this kinetic lighting situation that we have that's never been done on a tour. And that's evolved from so many things. It's incredible to what the show looks like and the dynamic. And then with We Creations and their automation of the screens and the ability to rotate the screens and things like that, it just really opened up looks that you just don't normally have.
John, thank you very much. That was John M. Lafferty, the production manager of the current Radiohead production we see in the background. And this is where our little stroll ends. I hope you had fun. If you had fun, then give me a thumbs up, do the abonnement, all the things you do if you don't want to pay money for the video. And I say many thanks for your attention and have a good time.